Hello everyone, this is Carmen Ledesma. I'm here with my final project, IMAP 4 Internet Marketing Action Plan. Moving right along, we're in the introduction slide. We have relationship development. We will be discussing audience, customer roles and personas, conversion optimization, landing page and metrics. And in traffic and promotion, we will also be discussing broad market campaign, targeted market campaign, intention-based paid campaigns, email newsletter, sponsorship. Now, our next slide, we're going to be talking about the audience. Now, with the audience, I have hashtag THRC. That's for the Hudson River Chronicles. A in quotations for audience description. Audience description is THRC is currently offering compelling stories that deals with events, life situations, technology, and marketing. The current target audience is still being established through the weekly post. That is to say, the only offer THRC has for the audience is reading materials that they may find interesting. The goal is for THRC to create an interactive platform where users engage more frequently on a regular basis to dictate the type of materials they would like to see. Hence, an ebook and a monthly newsletters are in the works to make that happen. Now, in terms of demographic and geographic data, the audience for THRC, we have 311 from the USA, which is ranks at 49.92%. We have 61 from Canada, which ranks at 9.79%. We have 40 from Germany, which ranks at 6.2%. We have 23 from the UK, ranks at 3.69%. 18 from Australia, 2.89%, and others from India, South Korea, Brazil, Italy, and Spain. Now, in terms of the audience intentions, identifying existing intentions of that audience. THRC's audience intentions tell us that they are looking for content that can better their lifestyles with topics that deal with sports, technology, and travel. Currently, THRC has offered free information as content, by no initial form of offer has been provided. The audience intentions is looking for meaning in their daily living habits and routines, and this is the same type of information that THRC provides in a broader sense. With the analytics data, one can focus in on those specific topics that the audience looks for to retain their interest. Okay, very good. Now we're moving on to roles and targets with customer roles and persona targeted. We're going to discuss the competitive. Now, the competitive characteristics of this persona should be more direct and result oriented. We know that. THRC must create compelling messages and articles that simulate this type of persona by fulfilling the interest categories. Now, meaning writing more content that covers the main topics that their audience looks for, like sports, technology, and travel. We also have the spontaneous characteristic. The spontaneous characteristic of this persona should be geared towards addressing the value for the solutions. For this persona, THRC must write articles that indicate that they have the most up-to-date solution in the most quick and reliable way. An easy to understand approach with information that gets things done that's what it is. And then there's the humanistic approach, should be geared towards a marketing approach that focuses on relationship building and give a sense of reliability. The methodical is a methodical approach to marketing strategies for fulfilling solutions would be to provide data with numbers and tons of information. Now, this approach would be lengthy and factual information that would provide articles and messages on the fact of the how-tos, because that is how a methodical persona thinks and operates. Now, this is just a cute little image to intrigue or pique your interest here. And now we're moving on to the broad campaign strategy. Now, in terms of conversion rates and the best and worst case scenario, for the broad campaign strategy, the best case scenario is 0.50%, whereas the worst case scenario is 0.25%. The interpretation of goals are basically starting a newsletter campaign that would allow THRC to stay connected with its audience. The projections, which is total cost revenue ratio, is 160%, whereas the worst case scenario is 400%. Moving on to the next slide, targeted campaign strategy. Best case scenario is 1.0%, where the worst case scenario is 0.50%. The interpretation of goals here would be to use Facebook ad campaigns using a compelling image for audience response. Now, the projections, which is the total cost revenue ratio, is 133.33% at the best case scenario, and the worst case scenario is 3.33.33%. Okay, now we're going to move on to our intention-based campaign strategy, and the best case scenario is 3%, where the worst case scenario is 2.50%. The interpretation of goals here would be the use of keywords. Interpretation of goals for the intention-based campaign strategy is throughout the use of keyword strategy, keywords like marketing, content writer, Hudson River, content marketing, and marketing content. Okay, the projections here at the best case scenario is 72.73%. At the worst case scenario is 109.09%. Email newsletter sponsorship, best case scenario is the conversion rate is at 5%, where the worst case scenario is at 3%. Interpretation of goals is to use iContact.com for an email marketing strategy. Projections 31.53% at the best case scenario, 68.65% at the worst case scenario. Okay, next slide, landing page and optimizations. Now, the landing page, which is a testing and optimization process, testing and optimization plan for the element variation that falls on the website's primary landing page. I would like to consider using the multivariate testing. Although it can be extensive, it appears that it will give me more room to play with. I can play around with the element variations and placement of frames and fonts and sizes. Also the backgrounds. Now essentially I can use the analytics data to determine which avenue I should pay attention to first. At least the data that seems to be lacking perhaps need more attention. The metrics to evaluate the testing and optimization process for the landing pages will be using the measurements from the analytics data. This will let me know the bounce rate, the conversion rate, how long users are staying on the page, and whether they are going where they are going after they leave the website. That'll be all, folks, for my presentation, and I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you.